Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and I'm grateful to be back and recording another not perfect Zen video. If you happened to watch my last video, I did make a mistake on one of my patterns, and my first thought was, oh no, I've messed it up, stop the recording. But I didn't. I pushed through and I did just fine. It's okay to make a mistake, and it's okay to keep going because we're not trying for perfection, right? Right. One of the things that I wanted to do this week was something that would kind of fit in with the James Webb Telescope. And I found this pattern called Starlight. And it's by Anita Nou, I guess is how you would say that. It could be new. I looked and looked for patterns that would look like stars. And I just thought I'd keep it simple. And I found this one called Kemistri by Sue Bailey. And this is a Zentangle pattern called Therefore. And the supplies I'm going to be using, this is one of my, this is 4-inch by 4.5-inch tile that I cut myself because I put them into this disc binding system. And I do have a link to that in the description of each of my videos if you're interested in how I do that. I'm going to use a Micron PN. I might use a brush pen just to fill in some spaces, a graphite pencil, a blending stump, or if you don't have that, a tortillon, and possibly an eraser. The other thing I'm going to use is a Bijou tile, and I'm going to use that to just kind of start my square, the border for this. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of center it, and if you're using a 3.5-inch tile, it's going to be just fine. And I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm just trying to get the outline for that border. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and extend these to make the box. And that's just an easy way to get this the way I want it. And I'm just going to keep that in pencil for now. And then we're going to want this orb right in the center. Let me zoom in just a little bit. If you want to find, excuse me, easy way to find the center, if you want to, is just kind of figure out that diagonal line, and then right in the center, just let your pencil go down a little bit. And then same across here. Let's see, it would be about right there. Okay, and that's just an easy way to find your center. And now I'm going to put my orb. All right, and by the way, on this pattern, I found it on the Instagram account called Treasures Zen. She puts all kinds of step outs there, and I love playing with them and sharing them. But if you don't have an Instagram account, you may not be able to get to it. But this is an easy pattern. Anita also has an Instagram account, but hers is private, so I didn't get into that account. But anyway, the next step is we're going to do these petals, and they're going to extend outside the border. So just a simple petal. It's going to go up and back down. Turn your tile. That one didn't get very dark. I go over it again. Turn your tile. Do the next petal. Mine will not be exactly the same as far as how wide, but it's okay. Okay, so we've done those first 4 petals, and then she puts a line right down the center. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take my eraser and just erase that X in the center. And now we're going to put the border. So I'm going to go over that line, skipping over the petal. Okay, and now we're going to put that border again on the inside. So come in as much as you'd like to. And then I'm going to try to keep it the same distance all the way around. Just take your time. Okay, so for this pattern, she then just fills that in and you're done. But I played around with it and put some more little petals inside here, and I really liked it that way. I thought I had the tile here that I could show you, but I think I moved the, here we go. So just kind of playing around with it. And this is the back of the tile. And when I've quote unquote messed up, I will sometimes use a tile to practice on the back. I mean, it's still good. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to come in from this way, and I'm going to add petals again, but these are not going to have the points. So rounded petals coming in from each side. Remembering to turn your tile. And again, this pattern doesn't look like stars, but I've really enjoyed playing with it. So the name convinced me to go ahead and show it to you today. I have really loved looking at those James Webb Telescope photos. It's just fascinating. Okay, so we're going to do those same petals, but this time we're going to come from this direction. So I'm going to go kind of close to that one, but leave a space. And then I'm going to do another one coming up this way, and another one on this side. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on each side. And it's helping us to fill in this space. Before we start filling in that black, which really adds the drama. So again, I'm coming up kind of close to that one. Okay. All right. So now we're going to fill in that space between the border and the petals. And just take your time. I do not speed up my videos. So if you get this done ahead of me, or you don't want to watch filling this in, you're more than welcome to speed it up or fast forward. Or color along with me. And one of the things you can do is, if you have brush pen, sorry, like this, or maybe a graphic one, or a little bit thicker pen, then you can do the edges like that, and then get your brush pen, which has a nice tip, and then just very carefully fill that in. I don't like to use this to get right next to the edges, because it's just not easy to control for me anyway. It does have a fairly sharp tip, but like I said, I prefer to use this pen first. So let's do that again. Get close to the edge. While I'm doing this, let you know that I did work for some NASA contractors for many years before I retired. And so it's been fun to watch the James Webb Telescope get ready to be launched. This took about 30 years. And see how it compares to the Hubble. my mother loved astronomy, and as a kid, I remember many nights that she would bring out her little telescope and set it up in the backyard. We were in West Texas, and I think we had some pretty dark nights out there. It wasn't a really big city at the time where I lived, and it was easy to see the stars. And she had a star chart that she would bring outside, and I'd have that history of watching her watch the stars. And she was very interested in the images that were coming back from Hubble. And we had a tabletop book with Hubble images that I bought for her. And I'm just really happy to see that the James Webb telescope was completed and launched, and it's successful. And I love watching the different scientists and listening to their interpretations of what the photographs are showing. And mostly it's just fascinating to me to see so many galaxies. Just blows my mind. And the fact that the first photo that they launched was full of stars and galaxies, and it was just one tiny speck, one tiny section of the universe, and pretty crazy. When you're filling in a section, just take your time and enjoy it. No rush. When I do rush, especially with one of these brush pens, I always mess it up. Okay, one more. As far as what I did on the NASA contracts, mostly I worked on web pages, and that was very interesting. I helped write the code for a while, and then I was a team lead for web applications. And I spent all my time at the Johnson Space Center here in Houston, Texas. And it was really cool to be a part of that. I was actually working there when the first shuttle went up. Got to meet some astronauts. My daughter, I have 4 kids, but one of them was especially interested in NASA. So whenever we could bring our kids to work, she came with me and got to meet some astronauts also. All right. So there we have it. It's that same thing, but with some extra petals. And I'm going to go ahead and put some lines inside here. Just to give those a little bit of depth, I guess. And same thing here. Just on those petals that we added. Okay. I really like how that looks. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is how to do this one called Kemistri. And I just have a scrap piece of paper here. And basically, she makes an arc, and then she makes a second arc going in the opposite direction. Okay. And then we're going to put another arc across here. And it's going to go with that same intersection and then touch here, but then we're going to go a little bit further. Okay. And now we're going to come back, make another arc. Doesn't matter if you get these exactly the same size or not. And then I'm going to extend that arc out again. And then you just keep adding these arcs like so. Okay. And then you bring it back. And if you're ready to stop, you could just stop here. You could come down, start another one, make another arc, come back up. Okay, so it's just these arcs. And then we'll come back in and add these little lines and dots coming out. Okay, so I'm not going to add that on there, but that's basically how you do Kemistri. And you don't have to connect them. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of them connected out here, but then we can try adding some that are just floating on their own also. So let's see how that works. I haven't tried this outside this tile yet. I just wanted to do it. So here's our first arc. And our second arc. And then I'm going to come back through that center and down here. Okay. And then I'm going to put these extra little lines. All right. Let's do one here. Across here. The center. And then I'll let this one get bigger. And then another arc. And another one here to meet up. And you can always come back and add to this one. Let's see how it looks first. Okay. Another arc here. We're going to have them. Your line should always go through there. Let's go ahead and bring this one around. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so this one should come this way. And we'll just have this one go off this way. Because our stars out there are infinite, just keeps going and going and going. Okay, I'm going to try to make, well, I was going to say make them smaller, but let's do this first. Let's make one over here. That one's kind of fat. And we'll make this one come around here. So I did that one a little bit differently. Let's see about making some smaller ones. So smaller arc. We'll make that one wide enough. Okay. And then your other arc across here. Okay, I did that one right. And let's put a small one down here. So an arc. And then halfway through that arc, come down. And then come back up, meet there. And a tip. Okay, your arc. And another arc. And then join those. Let's do one more. And I'm not worried that the little petals on these aren't exactly the same. And the next thing I'm going to do is just add therefore. And that's one of Zentangle's original patterns, and it's just 3 dots. And therefore, I believe is a math symbol. those 3 dots. Oh, sorry. So you can put them close to each other, little tiny. You can make some bigger dots. Just make it random, like the stars. And if you're on a 3.5-inch tile, just make these fit the way that you want them to. Always remember, this is your art. Change it around a little bit if you want to. Just like with these, the pattern shows them all connected, but what if we don't connect them? Let's pretend they're little stars. Okay, so I'm going to add some shading now. So let's go back to this, and I'm going to add a little bit of graphite just on the right side of this petal. Then I'm going to turn it. Do the same thing on the right side of this petal. And then just keep turning your tile to do the same thing. Okay, then I'm going to put a little bit of graphite at the base of each of these petals. And then a little bit at the bottom of each of these in the corner. And then I'm going to take my blending stump and just soften each of these where I added the graphite. And just lightly circle with your blending stump or tortillon so that it softly blends into the paper. If you haven't looked at the James Webb Telescope photos, I hope that you do. Maybe this will inspire you to look at them. Like I say, I think it's fascinating. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. Okay, now you could go ahead and put a little bit of graphite in the bottom of each of these little petals. I still have graphite on my blending stump, so I'm going to use that. Just to put a little bit of a shadow in the center. These almost, to me, look like little fairies. All right, there you go. It was simple, and I hope you enjoyed it. Put your chalk. All right. So this is Sunday, the 24th of July. I hope that you have a good week coming up. And again, I thank you for watching my channel. I am so incredibly grateful for the comments that I get on my videos. It really makes me so happy, makes my day, and makes me want to keep doing this, because I just love that you love Zentangle as much as I do, and I'm very happy that I can share it with you freely. Again, be safe, be well, and I hope that you have an awesome week. Thanks again for joining me. Bye.